Okay, so we're back for the application section. We're going to do a bunch of different word problems now to kind of practice the couple skills. Number one skill is to write our own algebraic expressions. Number two skill is to solve those algebraic equations, so let's start off with this one. So Rishi wants a PS4 for it costs $425. I don't know if that's true, but I'm gonna say yes. He's gonna mow lawns. I don't know if Rishi's ever done this before, but he's gonna try. He can borrow a lawnmower. For free, but needs to pay gas. Okay, but needs to pay for gas. So and that gas is $100 for the lawnmower. Okay, so he's gonna borrow the lawnmower for the weekend. He's gotta pay for 1 tank of gas, and it's $100. He's gonna charge $15 per lawn. So let's take a second here and let's go through this word problem to see what we know, what we need to know, and what are our variables and what is our constant. So let's start off with this. Rishi wants a PS4 for $425. So this is gonna be our final amount, right? So we can put that next to our equal sign. So equals $425. You can borrow one for free, but needs to pay for gas. So he needs to pay for gas for $100. So no matter how many lawns he cuts, this $100 is gonna be necessary. So he's gonna have to pay for that, right? And then he's gonna charge $15 per lawn. So this $100 is our constant, and then we're gonna have $15 per lawn. So if he does one lawn, it's $15. If he does 2 lawns, it's $30. So the amount of lawns he does, so this is gonna be our variable, this per lawn. So we're gonna write 15N. So what we need to figure out is what mathematical process we're gonna use for this situation. So $15 per lawn, is it plus $100? No, he's gotta pay for that. So it's gonna be subtracting $100. So $15N minus 100 equals 425. So we've written our algebraic equation. I want to know how many lawns is he going to have to mow or cut in order to reach this amount. So in order to do that, we're going to do the following. We're going to first get rid of this number, and we're going to isolate the variable. So we're going to have 15N on one side. And I'm going to do a much better job in this video of trying to keep my my equal signs on top of each other so I can get good marks for communication. So I'm going to bring 15N equals 425 plus 100, which when you think of it as plus 100, it makes a lot of sense, right? Rishi doesn't actually just have to save up for the $425 for the PS4. He also needs to cover the cost of gas. So in essence, it is like he's going to have to figure out how many lawns he's going to have to cut in order to get $525, right? The cost of the PS4 and the cost of the gas. So we're going to divide this by 15 and divide this by 15. So 15N minus 15 is going to give us N, and 525 divided by 15 is going to give us 35. So 35 times 15, let's just verify. 35 times 15 is $525. So what does this mean? Therefore, Rishi will need to cut 35 lawns in total. Rishi, one of those lawns can be mine if you'd like, okay? So if you want to come down to my house, I'll give you my address and you can come and cut some lawns, okay? So again, we went through this equation, we went through this problem and found out what we knew. What we knew is the constant, and what we found was the variable. Let's do another one. Okay, how about this one? In a chocolate cake, chocolate's one of those words that I like sound out because sometimes I forget how to spell it exactly. If a chocolate cake is divided evenly between BTW, this is not a K-pop band, 6 people, each slice contains 280 calories. That is not so bad for a slice of cake. So here's what I want to do. I want to write an equation. And 2, or B, I want to find out how many calories in the cake. How many calories in the cake. So let's go through it again. Let's figure out what we know. So we know that in our first equation, 1 slice of cake is going to be 280 calories. So that's going to be our equal sign, 280. We know that this entire chocolate cake is going to be divided by evenly between 6 people. So we know it's going to be division. So we know it's going to be divided by 6 people. When it says divided by, we know that we're talking about whatever the number is, it's going to be on the bottom. So it's going to be x over 6 will be our idea, because whatever this number is, it will tell us how many calories are in the cake. So when we have a division number, we're going to multiply the numerator by whatever the denominator is. So our next line is going to be 6x over 6, and the other line will be 280 times 6, okay? Or we can make this c so it doesn't get confusing for us. So our variable will be c, 6c over 6. So we are left with c equals 1680, right? Because 280 times 6 is 1680. And this stands for the calories. So therefore, there are in this cake that's split up evenly, the total amount of calories in the cake is 1680. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do this one. How about if I give you, so before you've had to create your own algebraic expression or equation, and now I'm going to give you. So the total cost of solar panels is modeled as, and here's what it's modeled as. It's modeled as C equals 200N plus 9,000, okay? C equals the cost, N equals the amount of years, okay? And 9,000 is the installation fee, okay? So that doesn't change. So I want to know, after how many years, after how many years will the cost be 10,600? So after how many years is the cost of having these solar panels going to be 10,600? So what do we do in this multiple step equation? We have a final product, right? So we have our final product, which is 10,600. So that's going to be our equal sign. So equals 10,600. Because this is the cost, we know that that's replacing that right there. So that's that. So now we can just kind of reintroduce the previous equation. And now all we're going to do is isolate variables and move numbers around. So 10,600, we're going to move this 9,000 over. So minus 9,000 equals 200N. 10,600 minus 9,000 is 1,600. And 200n is what we still have. We need to isolate this now. So we have to divide that by 200 and divide that by 200. So 200n divided by 200 is n. 1,600 divided by 200 is 8. What does that 8 represent? That represents the years. So in the 8th year of owning these solar panels, it'll have reach a cost of $10,600. How about we try one for you guys? Time to do one for yourself. So a camp, am I on the page? Perfect. A camp, I'll write this as neat as I can. A camp charges a school $100 a day to use the site. Okay. And it's $25 a day per student for food and equipment. Sorry, I'm going to say this. A camp charges a school $100 to use the site, and then $25 per student per day for food and equipment. So I want you to do 3 things for me here. First one is I want you to write the equation. Algebraic equation, that's AE, okay? Number 2, if 30 students go, how much does it cost per day? And what about C? If the school raised $300, how many students can go? So you can see that there's different levels to this application. Okay, so take a pause and let's see what you come up with and come back. And if you're struggling, that's okay. Come back and we'll do some more work with this. Okay, so you are back. Let's try to solve these together. So the first one we're going to do down here is the algebraic equation. So a camp charges a school $100 no matter what. Okay, so we know 100 is going to be our constant. It's going to cost $25 per student per day for food and equipment. So because this $25 per student changes based on the amount of students, we know that the 25 is going to be our, I'm going to do 25S, is going to be our, looks too much like a 5, 25K is going to be our student. And that amount, is it going to be subtracting the $100? No, because we have to add that $100. So 25K plus 100 equals, well, we're going to just call that cost. So we're going to call it C. So that would represent our equation. $25 per kid plus the $100 for the campsite equals the cost for the day. The next question asks, if 30 students go, how much does it cost? So I'm going to do that up here, but I'm going to rewrite the equation so we don't forget about it. 25K plus 100 equals C. So it's asking if 30 kids go, how much does it cost? So what we're going to find out is this. We're looking to find out this. Where do you think we're going to input the 30? Where did you input the 30? Hopefully you input the 30 into this area because of the amount of kids. So our next line will look like this. 25 times 30 plus the $100 site fee equals the cost. 25 times 30 is 750 plus 100 equals the cost. And now it's just simple math. 750 plus 100 is 850. So the cost would be, therefore, the cost is $850 if 30 kids come. This third question, the third part of the question asks you, the school raised $300. How many students can go? So the cost is $300. They've raised that money. So when we rewrite our equation, 25K plus 100 equals C, that $300 is not going into the amount of kids because we're trying to figure out the kids. So that means we need to isolate this part. So we're isolating that part, then it only makes sense to put the 300 here. So our line now looks like 25K plus 100 equals 300, right? 300 is the total amount raised by the school. So now we start moving things around. We're going to bring this $100 site fee and we're going to subtract it from the 300, which makes sense because if you've raised $300, you still got to pay for that site fee. So what we're left with is 25K equals 200. And then it's just simple division. 25 divided by 25. K equals 200 divided by 25 equals 8. So then, therefore, 8 kids can go. All right. So that's pretty much what we would need to do. 25 times 3. Sorry guys, something doesn't look great in that first one. 25 times 30, 750, okay. Now, if we thought about it, it's only really $200 being able to go to a kid, right? So it makes sense that 8 kids, 8 times 3 would give us 24. 200 times 3 would give us 600. We're pretty close to that 30 mark, right? So it would make sense that that would be the answer. I think that's it for the application stuff. If you got this, that's great. If you didn't, just look it over again and just kind of see where we went. We're going to finish with a couple thinking questions that will just take us in. Just so you know, we're going to do a second lesson on solving algebraic equations on Wednesday. So, on Thursday. So if you didn't get so much on this one, there's going to be opportunities for you to do more examples yourselves and to ask questions on Thursday.